Ukraine. The US president's 50-day ultimatum has not pleased Russia. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman has in fact said that it is a signal to continue slaughter in Ukraine, while reiterating its stance on the war with Ukraine. Its foreign ministry has also said that it will take all necessary steps to protect its country. Spokeswoman Maria Zakharova has said that in such circumstances, need to fulfill aims of operations in Ukraine only increases. Further reacting to US President Donald Trump's push for peace between the two countries, Russia has said that it does not accept threats. President Vladimir Putin has declared repeatedly that any peace deal should see Ukraine withdraw from the 4 regions that Russia annexed in September of 2022, but never fully captured. He also wants Ukraine to renounce its bid to join NATO and accept strict limits on its armed forces, demanding Kiev and its Western allies have rejected. We're now joined by Eric Wahlberg, who is a political analyst. He joins us live from Toronto, Canada. Eric, thank you very much for joining us on the programme. Eric, what do you make of the Russian ministry's response to Donald Trump's 50-day ultimatum? Quite extremely harsh language coming out of Moscow. What are your thoughts, Eric?
Well, it's an obvious response. I don't know what is going through Trump's mind. He is an infant. He's infantile thinking, that he thinks that he's all powerful, just like a baby thinks it's all powerful. It sees the world as owing him something. So that's how he reacts, and he only can react with threats and with bizarre, irrational statements. He's telling Zelensky, bomb Moscow and St. Petersburg. That's the way we'll get Russia to the negotiating table. Well, this is not, he doesn't understand that this is a war, that it's a war between 2 countries that are far away from America. They've got nothing to do with America. It needs to be resolved through their mutual negotiations. What he's doing is he's pushing the U.S. back into the center of the conflict, which is what Biden did. And Trump, right from the start, he very loudly said, this is Biden's war. I'm going to end it as soon as I get into power. And what's he doing? He's just continuing Biden's war. So it's really, it's frightening to think that this is the person that controls the fate of the world. He doesn't seem to realize that it is a war. He thinks that somehow just by him talking with Putin, that Putin will suddenly stop the war, will stop trying to achieve the Russian aims, which are clearly stated and which Ukraine rejects, and which it looked like Trump was accepting them. For the first month or two, he was saying, yes, you're right, Ukraine should not be in NATO. Yes, you've got Crimea is clearly part of Russia. We can negotiate over the remaining issues. That's gone out the window. Now it's basically Trump backing Zelensky's extreme position of basically total defeat of Russia. So I don't know what Trump thinks he can shake his fist and that Russia will comply. And Russia's not doing that. Russia's saying, no, if you really if you believe what you're saying, then all you're doing is making us fight harder and faster to end this war as soon as possible, before you build up Ukraine again, and before you get involved directly, before this becomes a nuclear war. So Trump is actually bringing about the opposite of what he wants. He wants Russia just to back off and to say, uncle. And Russia's saying, sorry, we're going to finish what we started.
Eric, this leads me quite well to the next question. These words used by the Russian ministry spokeswoman, it's a signal to continue a slaughter in Ukraine. It counters Donald Trump's rhetoric. He was often praised, actually, for saying that in regards to this war, he wanted people to stop dying on both sides. Obviously, we can't speculate here. No one knows what's going on in Donald Trump's head. However, how do you might think Donald Trump and his administration will take this statement?
There's an excessive deaths. Yes, Trump talks about wanting to end the killing. Well, no one can that's looking at Trump and what he does can have any illusions that he cares about how many people die. He's been bombing Iran, bombing Somalia, providing all these weapons to Ukraine to kill Russians. And of course, Russia is killing Ukrainians. That's a shame. But in fact, Trump is also under the illusion that Russia's losses are greater than Ukrainian losses. But in fact, it's the exact opposite. Probably for every Russian that dies, probably the estimates are 5 to 10 Ukrainians. That the imbalance. Of course, Russia's the dominant power here. It's got air superiority, so it's got a lot more troops. So of course, it's killing more Ukrainians than Ukrainians are killing Russians. So this idea that Russia is just make it suffer a bit more and it will stop. I mean, that's not the logic. That's not the situation. It's actually Ukraine that's suffering far more, and it's just a delusional leadership in Ukraine that is pursuing this war at this point. I'm sure that the majority of Ukrainians, in fact, a poll that was done sometime in the last 2 years made it clear that the majority of Ukrainians want negotiation. They want the war to stop, negotiate. They don't want the war to continue. And also Ukrainians are actually telling on Facebook and on social media, they're telling Russians where the recruitment centers are, and they're pleading with Russia to bomb the recruitment centers so that this will slow down the kidnapping and recruitment of unwilling Ukrainians. No one wants to sign up. So they have to take people from the street and drag them forcibly. So I don't know if Trump does. Maybe I don't think he really reads much. He just gets information secondhand or from Fox Media, which just feeds his narrative and doesn't show the actual facts on the ground. So it's a very
Eric,
frightening. Yes.
Let me rephrase my question. Critics often believe that in some way Vladimir Putin was in a way seducing Donald Trump. Many people point to these direct leader-to-leader phone calls, things that didn't happen under the Biden administration. Donald Trump also expressed his anger over his Truth Social posts in his press conferences that he gave on Air Force One. Do you think this time of Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, as critics would say, seducing Donald Trump, is over? Do you think that Putin has played all of his cards in regards to that?
Well, Putin, this is Western media hype that you're quoting, and this is not the case. Putin is just being very clear. If you look at his statements after these phone calls, Trump initiated the phone calls. It's not Putin phoning Trump and trying to seduce him. It's Trump trying to seduce Putin. Trump is a narcissistic, infantile character who thinks that he can just say something and smile and that people will be seduced and will do what he says. And he doesn't understand the history, he doesn't understand the decades of difficulties post-1990, the collapse of Soviet Union, how Russia's really risen from a very weak position. So Russia is on the up, and its economy is in good. Well, it's in adequate shape. It's not suffering from all of they prepared for this, for the eventualities that they're getting us. So this idea that Putin is seducing somebody is really just nonsense. And this idea that Trump can now seduce Russia's allies into abandoning it, that's another complete myth. China, India, to try and to threaten them with 500% tariffs.
Yes.
All Trump's doing is laying down the gauntlet to BRICS, saying if you don't do what I want, you're going to be down. But the BRICS have already alternative payment mechanisms. They have strong relations. They have supply lines. I think that this will be the end of the U.S. in a sense, because BRICS is not going to just back down and obey Trump.
Yes. Eric Wahlberg, thank you very